Hi there, my name is Steve Gearhart, and as always, this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. We are in the filler videos, so that means we are in between seasons. So these are just kind of fun little things that I put up and do, and something that they might relate to anime, they might not. They may relate to gaming, science fiction. It doesn't matter. It's just fun stuff that we're doing. The episodes, the regular season was going to start up in the second half of February or the first week of March. Haven't decided which. Let you know. And also, I want to play a little game with you guys on this first filler video of 2025. But before we get into that little game, I want to talk about the Roanoke Retreat, anime retreat. So last year we did the Roanoke retreat, and Brent and I met up with John, who lives down in Roanoke, and a couple other people, and we had a ball spending a long weekend watching anime, discussing it, laughing about it, eating good food, and enjoying each other's company. You can see it on my YouTube channel, if I can remember to put the link on it when I upload. It is the Anime Meth House, and the reason why I call it the Anime Meth House is because the place we stayed in on the outside looked like a meth house, but on the inside it was actually really quite nice, and it was very comfortable. So we enjoyed it. This year we're going out a little bit of ways away from Roanoke, and we're going to be staying in this really gorgeous place. So can't wait to tell you guys more about that. But yes, we're going to play a little game here. And so why don't we just jump into it? All right. Dungeons and Dragons Endless Quest Book. Pick a Path to Adventure. Dungeon of Dread by Rose Estes. Hope I'm saying that right. Sanctioned by TSR. So this is an actual TSR product. All right, let us start. So we're going to go through the introduction. Welcome to a journey into the world of fantasy. This adventure to the Dungeon of Dread is a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. You will find a complete adventure between the covers of this book with many possible courses of action. Some choices are simple, some are sensible, some are foolhardy, and some are dangerous. You must make all the decisions. Actually, the dice are going to make all the decisions. Remember, your choice determines the outcome of your adventure. In this book, you play the part of a human fighter. As an adult, you stand 5'9" tall, 5'9" tall, and you weigh about 150 pounds. You are smart and have survived many adventures using little more than your wits. I don't know about that. You are well schooled in the use of weapons and are a powerful opponent. You carry a sword and a dagger and wear a long-sleeved green tunic over leather breeches. Fine leather boots guard your feet. A long green hunter's cloak protects you from the cold. You carry flasks of oil, a tinderbox, a length of rope, and other gear in a leather pouch tied to your belt. And food and water in a sack slung over your shoulder. Good luck and good adventuring. Alright, we get into the adventure. You have stopped for a night in a strange forest, tired after a long day walk. The area seems eerie and strange. There is no moonlight, so the shadows are very black. The air is still and heavy. Even the usual night noises of small birds and animals are missing. Ordinarily, you would have pressed on through the dark woods to the nearest town, but this night you are too tired to take another step. Wrapping your cloak firmly around yourself, you lie down upon a soft bed of moss with your sword close at hand. You are soon fast asleep. You dream that summer breezes ruffle your clothes. A strong breeze tugs at your cloak. You slowly awaken. Breeze? There is no breeze. The night is calm. Your reflexes scream in alarm and you awaken. Eyes snapping open, you see a 3-foot-tall halfling, possibly a thief, quietly searching your clothes. In one smooth, swift moment, you jump to your feet and grab the unlucky halfling by the scruff of the neck. The halfling's eyes shine in the moonlight and his fear is easy to see. Well, halfling, can you give me one reason why I shouldn't feed you to the crows? Oh, please don't do that, whines the halfling. I'm just a poor, hungry halfling named Larius. I'm no danger to anyone. Why, I just now escaped a terrible fate. If you spare me and feed me, I'll tell you where to find all the treasure in the world. You hesitate, then lower him to the ground, saying, I have no need for all the world's riches, but what you say sparks my interest. I will spare your life and feed you if your story interests me enough to pay for my lost sleep. But I warn you, if the tale does not, I will feed you to the crows. Carefully watching the halfling, you gather dry wood from beneath the trees to start a fire. Soon you and the halfling share its welcome warmth. Its bright light holds back the shadows of the night. You brew mugs of strong tea as the halfling falls ravenously on the mutton leg and round of cheese. He eats as though it has been years since he last saw food. Halfling, you spoke of treasure and adventure, you urge, trying not to show your curiosity. Larius wipes his mug with a grimy finger, searching for any sugar his tongue might have missed. All the while, his large brown eyes flicker about, calculating his chances for escape. He studies the strong grace of your movements, your mirror-bright shield glinting in the firelight, and your sword hanging within easy reach, its hilt polished with use. Wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, the halfling sighs and stares into the flickering fire. Aye, 'tis true, 'tis a marvelous tale, and truthful too, but there are hardly any who will believe it when I get back to my home. Well, try me. I'm always ready for a good tale, and you still owe me for dinner and your life. I'll tell you, says the halfling, fixing you with a shrewd look, but you may wish you had never asked. Settling back against a tree stump, a faraway look comes into his eyes, and the halfling begins his tale. I've lived around these parts all my life, and a right pleasant place it was until the magic user showed up. Kalaman, he calls himself. No one knows who he is or where he came from. One day he wasn't here, the next he was. Things soon began to change for the worse. People grew poor and sickly, crops withered, and livestock weakened and died. And throughout our troubles, the magic user grew rich and powerful. I'll show you a little picture here. Larius, and I think that is supposed to be us, standing over watching him. Alright. At last, people had their fill. Gathering their courage, they came upon Kalman in the middle of the night, burned his house down, and drove him from the town. He fled to these woods and claimed them as his own. We townsfolk stay far away from the woods, but travelers who choose not to listen to our warnings enter the woods and are never seen again. I was always too smart for my own good, sighs the halfling. One day I decided I would learn the secrets of the wood, the missing travelers, and perhaps figure out how to kill the wizard. If I could do that, I could return to the village as a rich hero. So one morning, without even a goodbye to me missus, I slipped into the woods. I explored every inch of the evil woods and found nothing. Finally, I came to a mountain just outside the forest. I was cold and tired, so I crawled up on a ledge of rock to rest. I was going to sit for a moment before I went home. I must have fallen asleep, for the next thing I knew, I woke up to find Kalman standing over me. So you wanted to find me, halfling, he said. Well, now you have, and I wager you'll get more than you bargained for. With a wave of his hand, he put a spell on me so I couldn't move and slung me over his shoulder like a trussed-up rabbit. Then we'd slip through an opening in the side of the mountain. I cannot and will not tell you of all the frightening things I saw. I don't even want to think of them, shudders the halfling. He carried me to the very center of the mountain, maybe the center of the world for all I know, and there I saw all the treasure in the world. You wanted to rob me, said Kalman. So look upon my treasure, you will always know just how much you have lost. Those who seek danger foolishly always find it. Those who know how to handle both danger and wealth are few and far between. You are lucky, I feel generous. Sorry, I'm speaking as Larius, it's supposed to be Kalman. I shall let you go and not even change you into a newt as you deserve. When you return to your home, none will believe you. Your friends will think you have been drinking fermented corn juice in the woods and have made this story up to cover your absence. They will laugh at you. Only you will know what you have beheld and lost. Now begone. Black smoke came out of his fingertips. When it cleared, I found myself in these dark woods, alone and hungry. Larius stares into the fire for a long time without speaking. Finally, he rouses himself and says, with a shaky laugh, You can see me now. I'm just a poor halfling of no harm or help to anyone. You feel sorry for the forlorn little fellow, and are curious about both the evil wizard and his fabulous treasure. Strangely enough, you do believe the tale. Even though the little man is clad in a grimy patched cloak and has one toe peeking through his tattered leather boots, his eyes hold a stern look that says, I'm not a quitter. Life has used the halfling hard, yet he has courage. If he were given encouragement and a fair chance, he might prove a worthy companion. Larius, you say gently, could you find that opening in the mountain again? The halfling stares at you for a moment before he answers. Surely I could, but it would mean your death.
Calman would not allow you to survive as he did me. I was a moment's amusement, but you would be a serious threat. Anyway, the monsters would get you first. They're scary. I don't remember them clearly, but I remember enough to give me nightmares for the rest of my life. You're crazy to even think about going in there. You couldn't get me to go back in there for a million zillion gold pieces. You fold your arms and stare at the halfling, tapping your fingers against your shoulder. Larius shakes his head and says, I see nothing I say will persuade you. As the wizard said, those who search for danger will find it. Who can tell? You might even succeed where I failed. I will take you to the rock. At least it will prove I spoke the truth. Gathering your few possessions, you quickly break camp and follow the halfling into the dark woods. The night is dark. Without the halfling's knowledge of the way, you would be hopelessly lost. Trees loom out of the darkness, brambles clutch at your legs, and sharp stones cut into the soles of your boots. At last the mountain rises before you, silhouetted against the night. The halfling searches about for a while and then cries, Aha! Here it is! A large dark crack looms in the mountain before you. You turn to the halfling, almost expecting him to have disappeared, but as he has remained faithfully by your side, instead of scurrying off into the night as soon as you found the opening. Halfling, what will happen to you if you return to your village? Larius laughs a bitter laugh. If I tell the truth, me missus will scold me. She's a hard woman. If I don't tell the truth, she'll still yell at me for disappearing and not talk to me, although that might be a blessing. I will just go back to being little Larius, the baker's helper. Larius, you say, it took great heart and courage to try such a dangerous task. Would you consider joining me on this second adventure? Kalman will never expect you to return, and with your assistance, we may defeat this evil wizard. If we succeed, you will return home a hero. Thereafter, you will be known as Larius the Brave. The halfling looks down at the ground, his shoulders sagging. I couldn't do it. I'm not a fighter. Pick somebody who won't let you down. I don't want anyone else. I need you, and I want you. You can do it if you believe in yourself. After a long pause, the halfling looks up into your eyes and pulls at his beard. Do you really need my help? Do you really think I could do it? I'll be honest, I'm scared. Much of what I saw seems like a nightmare to me. All scary and creepy and blurry. But I would like to be Larius the Brave. A real adventure. One that might actually succeed. You're strong and handy with your weapons. I bet you're tricky too. More of a challenge for that wizard than I was. But I've been there. Maybe I could help. Maybe I could do it. What do I have to lose? Me missus scolds me and others laugh at my size. There's not much to lose and lots to gain. His voice fades as he thinks to himself. Finally he shouts, Yes! I'll do it! I'm your man if you want me. Can you handle a weapon? I've had a little call to use one as a baker's helper, but I know the basics every child learns. I'm loyal and very strong. Well spoken, Larius. I have met giants who bore the hearts of mice. People should never judge a man by his size. The things that matter, truth, loyalty, courage, and honor, will never be found on a yardstick. The halfling smiles up at you, his round eyes rimmed with bright tears. Come, no time for tears. Now then, I am called Carrick. Clasp my hand and let us swear our loyalty to each other and to our mission. The halfling slides his small leathery hand into yours, and you soon swear the oath. Well, you say, there's no reason to stay. Let the adventure begin. You look at the stars and breathe deeply of the clean, crisp air. Then, with your hand wrapped firmly around the hilt of your sword, you step into the opening. Inside, all is quiet. It appears a simple cave. Even though the halfling's tale sounded true, you question it for just a moment. As your eyes grow accustomed to the darkness, you see a skeleton leaning against the wall in one corner, staring at the opposite wall. A small shield lies at its side. With a little polishing, it might shine as brightly as your own. You pick the shield up and give it to Larius, also handing him your dagger. The halfling takes the weapon and shield, holding the dagger gingerly with his fingertips. It's not going to bite you. Hold it firmly, but be ready. Don't strike until you're certain of your target, and once you begin, do not falter. I'll try to do my best, Larius says, putting the dagger in his belt. I'm scared, but I won't let you down. He begins polishing the shield. Your eyes follow the skeleton's gaze and see a message scrawled in red on the wall of the cave. Watch the water that is not water, and beware of the basilisk. The rest of the cave is empty except for a pile of leaves and twigs in the west corner, and a hole in the wall under the message. Well, Larius, where do we go from here, you ask? I do not know, the halfling replies. I do not remember any trails, just some of the things I saw. Okay, our first set of options. Option 1 is, if you wish to investigate the hole in the wall, turn to page 13. If you wish to check the pile of leaves in the corner, turn to page 15. So we are going to use a 6-sided die to determine what that might be. So we'll drop it into the thing. And we have 6. So it's going to be the second option. We will turn to page 15. The pile looks like a harmless clump of leaves and twigs, perhaps the nest of an animal. However, just to be sure, you place one foot in the middle of the pile, intending to spread the debris out on the floor of the cave. Your foot finds no solid footing, and, your arms waving wildly, you lose your balance. Whoosh! You are falling. You slide rapidly down a chute carved from solid rock. The sides are smooth as glass. You're moving much too fast to stop yourself. You fly out of the chute and land on your back. The fall knocks the breath out of you. You are attempting to catch your breath when, thud! Another figure flies through the air and lands on the floor beside you. Oh, groans Larius. I was so scared when you disappeared like that. I thought maybe you were eaten by a monster. No monster. Just a hole. Are you alright? Any bones broken? No, I'm not hurt. As the two of you catch your breath, you notice you are in a corridor carved from solid rock. A single torch burns in a bracket on the wall, and you can see that a tunnel branches off to your left. Ahead of you, you hear footsteps approaching. A large, ugly man-thing walks into your sight carrying a torch. The creature has an ugly snout and long, sharp teeth. It's an orc. It will discover you at any moment. All right, we have more options. Option 1, if you choose to try to step into the side tunnel without being discovered, turn to page 22. If you decide to stand and fight the orc, turn to page 20. Okay, we'll do the 6-sided side again. Drop it to the thing. And we have, what do we have here? Oh, got it. Roll another 6 again. Okay, so we decide to stand and fight the orc. So we turn to page 20. Let's head for the side corridor. Larius, there isn't time, you say. We wouldn't make it. We'll have to fight. As the orc approaches, you see that it carries a sword and wooden shield. You unhook your cloak quietly. As you do, Larius steps into the orc's sight. The beast rushes after him immediately. Holding your cloak by an edge, you whip it around your head and fling it at the menacing orc. The cloak flies through the air like a giant bat and wraps itself around the orc's head. The orc is taken by surprise. While it struggles to free itself from the cloak, you and the halfling rush forward and swiftly attack the foul monster with your blades. You remove your cloak from the dead beast, and Larius says shakily, I did it, Carrick. Just like you said I could. But I feel awful. I've never killed before. Larius, it's an orc. Do you realize that it was its life or ours? Larius shudders. I reckon you're right. It's just that I have a queasy stomach. I can't even eat liver. Taking a deep breath, the halfling helps you drag the orc over to the side of the corridor. Satisfied that you won your first encounter, the two of you continue down the corridor. It bends to the right. Turn to page 23. The corridor is long and narrow, and another corridor joins it from the right. A torch flickers at the entrance to a room where the two corridors join. Approaching carefully, you peer around the edge of the door, and you are startled by what you see. You see a large baboon. It sits on an oaken wine barrel, wearing a blue coat, leather breeches, and a frayed leather sword sheath. The sheath holds a rusty sword. The baboon is drinking deeply from a mug. You are truly puzzled. For you have never known baboons to live underground, much less wear clothing and drink wine. Furthermore, the baboon stares glumly into its mug and seems depressed. A depressed baboon. How very odd. What's this, Larius, you ask. I don't know, the halfling replies. I've never seen anything like it. All right, we got options again. If you decide to enter the room and face the baboon, turn to page 54. If you decide you don't want to face the baboon, you go down the corridor on the right and turn to page 71. But let's take a look at the baboon. Sad looking guy. Alright, so we got a roll here. 3. Okay, option 1. So we're going to enter the room and face the baboon. Turn to page 54. I don't like the looks of that monkey, mutters Larius. Neither do I, you reply, but we can't leave without knowing what this means. Holding your sword before you, you enter the room. Larius sneaks in behind you. The baboon sees you and whimpers into its wine. It drinks the contents of the cup in one large gulp and stares at you sadly, making peculiar noises and gestures. You realize it's trying to talk to you. Can you understand him, Larius? I can't make out what it's saying. Nope, it's all nonsense to me, says the halfling. Tears pour down his cheeks as the baboon realizes you do not understand. Heaving a great sigh, he jumps off the barrel and draws yet another full cup, drinking it in one gulp. The baboon drops the cup and stares at the ground for a long moment. Then, without warning, the creature pulls its rusty sword and rushes towards you. Back up, Larius, you say. I don't want to fight this fellow. But the baboon will not let you leave the room. It lurches about, swinging its rusty sword wildly and attacking clumsily, but with great strength. Realizing you could be killed by this strange beast, you reluctantly raise your own weapon. I don't think it's trying to win, you pant as you block off a wild thrust. Couldn't prove it by me, cries Larius, frantically hiding behind you. Even though you do not fight hard and merely tried to protect yourself, the baboon throws itself on your sword and falls dying at your feet. You stare down at the unfortunate beast, saddened by the event. The creature puts its hairy arm around your neck and pulls your head close to its mouth. It mumbles strange sounds, but you cannot understand them. A white cloud appears over the baboon's body. You wave it away with your sword and find a plump merchant with a large red nose lying on the ground. The baboon is gone. The merchant whispers, I thank you for this service. My good wife always said I was ugly as an ape, and when I was in my cups, I guess she was right. The cloud reappears, and when you fan it away, only the rusty sword and the cup are left lying on the ground. There is no trace of the baboon or the man. You quickly leave the room and hurry down the corridor on the other side of the room. You pass a corridor on your left. As you peer into it, you see a strange green light. The corridor is empty. It runs straight for over 100 paces. Then it divides. One path goes to the right, the other path goes to the left. While you and Larius are trying to decide which way to go, a hobgoblin comes down the right-hand corridor. Its yellow eyes shift from side to side. It sees you and lets forth a tremendous roar, then starts running towards you. All the tall creature is intent on is tearing you and Larius from limb. Alright, we choose. Choose to fight the hobgoblin, turn to page 69. If you choose to run down the corridor to the left, turn to page 62. What shall we do? What shall the dice tell us? The dice is going to tell us to... What is this? This is... option 2. So we're going to run down the corridor to the left. Page 62. As you enter the corridor, you hear the sound of grinding stone and see some dust fall from the ceiling. Something's wrong, you whisper to the halfling. Let's get out of here. You turn around and start retracing your footsteps. However, before you have gone 2 paces, a tremendous roar knocks you off your feet and the passage before you collapses. When the dust settles, you see the corridor is completely blocked with large boulders, heavy timbers, and dirt. It's impossible, you say. We'll never dig out without tools. We can only go forward. Reluctantly, the two of you stagger to your feet, turn around, and walk down the corridor, alert for danger at every step. The corridor ends in a room. A feeling of menace is heavy in the air. But what you see seems harmless enough. The room is approximately 20 feet square and dimly lit. The ceiling and walls are rough, with stalactites hanging from the ceiling. The floor is smooth. A stone well, about 3 feet tall, stands in the middle of the room. The well is covered with mysterious carvings of ugly faces. Sword in hand, you approach the well carefully. Don't do that! Get away! Screams the halfling. You stare at the halfling in shock. There's something horrible in there, Larry says, trembling, but I can't remember it clearly. Cowman picked me up by my feet and dangled me over the pool. He thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny. What kind of monster is it, you ask? I don't know, he answers. I never saw anything like it before. Sneaking carefully up to the well, you glance in quickly and discover it contains only a shallow pool of water. All of your instincts scream danger. Everything in you says leave now, but you do not. You can't go back the way you came, and you've come too far to let mysterious carvings around a pool of water frighten you. You look in again and see that the water is crystal clear. You see a bright cold key on the bottom of the pool. The tip of the key is fashioned like a cross with diamonds on each end. Colored gems decorate each corner. The key must be valuable, and open the lock to something of great importance. Look, Larius, you call, but the halfling buries his head in his hands and does not respond. If the key is important, why would it be left lying in a pool of harmless water? Perhaps the water is not harmless. You could reach in and see what happens, but if a monster lurks in there, as Larius believes, that would not be a good idea. Looking about the room, you see several things you did not notice at first glance. There are 2 doorways. one to your left and one to your right. Both are dark. You cannot see beyond them. Bones lie scattered on the floor. Larius, bring me one of those big bones. The halfling slowly drags a 3-foot-long bone to you. Picking up the bone, you probe the bottom of the pool gingerly, trying to snag the key. Suddenly, the bone is wrenched from your hand with great violence. The water erupts from the pool. A water cobra-like head rises out of it. It surges at you with its mouth open. You jump back quickly. Once you are out of its striking range, the watery creature sinks back into the pool. See, I told you, but no, you wouldn't believe me, cries the halfling. We've got to get out of here before he eats us. Calm down, you say. It can't get us as long as we stay here. It's a water weird. A snake made out of water. It can't leave the pool. I've heard them mentioned in old tales, but I thought they were never real. It looks real enough to me, says the halfling, his teeth chattering. You are silent as you try to remember all you have heard about water weirds. You know they will attack any living thing. It drags any creature it strikes into the pool to drown it. Weapons rarely hurt the monster. If you decide you do not wish to fight this dreadful monster, you may choose to leave the key, the monster, and the room. So we got 3 options here. First one, if you decide to leave, you may leave by the doorway on your left. You notice a cool breeze blowing from this doorway. If you choose this route, turn to page 86. Option number 2. Or you may leave by the doorway on the right. If you choose this way, turn to page 73. And then the last option is, if you decide to stay and try to get the mysterious key, turn to page 77. And we got a picture of the water weird. Sorry, let's see. Hopefully you can see that. It's got the bone in mouth. All right. So we got 3 choices. I'm going to use a 12-sided die. All right, so I believe 1 to 4 is first option. 5, 6, 7, 8 is second option. And then 9 through 12 is the last option. I believe that's how it works. We have rolled a 2 off the 12 from the die of disappointment. So that is the first option. So we're going to leave by the doorway on the left, which we notice a cool breeze blowing from this doorway. And now we turn to page 86. Get a drink of water or soda. What do you think so far? Let me down below. Didn't think we were going to get this far. All right, we shall continue. As you travel down the corridor away from the water weird, you see that another passage opens to the left. It is dimly lit, but you see nothing. Let's stay out of that corridor for now, you say. As you continue down the corridor, you see stone faces carved in the side of the corridor. The faces have ugly, snarling features. Gosh, Kirk, Larius says, look at those ugly faces. As you proceed, the carvings become larger. The corridor is now flanked by man-sized stone monsters with such hideous expressions, you are almost too terrified to walk past them. They're only stone, Larius, you say, with more courage than you feel. The 2 of you creep along under the gaze of the stone monsters. A large torch-lit room opens before you. Large wooden beams rise on both sides of the doorway. You notice the corridor continues on the other side of the room, so you're going to have to cross the room to get there. As you examine the room, you feel as though 1,000 eyes are watching you. Before you stands the most horrible collection of statues you have ever seen. Stone monsters only a madman could imagine leer down at you from their pedestals. You stand in the doorway, too frightened to continue. It is well that you do so, for one of the statues moves. It's a living gargoyle. It is the size of a man, but in the color of stone. Bat-like wings rise from its back, and it has nice sharp hooks on its elbows and knees. A long spiral horn protrudes from its forehead. The gargoyle's hands end in long, sharp claws, and it has a long, whip-like tail. The halfling presses to your side and raises his small shield to hide behind. You know gargoyles are ferocious predators that attack anything and love to torture their prey. You also know that they sometimes serve an evil master. It is possible that the gargoyle is Kalman's servant. Perhaps the wizard is near. All right, we got 2 choices. First option. If you think you must fight the gargoyle, even though it is one of the fiercest creatures you expect to meet in this dungeon, enter the room and turn to page 100.
Second option, if you do not wish to fight the gargoyle, return to the dimly lit corridor you passed earlier and turn to page 81. All right, so let's do the 6-sided die. Drop it into the thing. And we have 4. So we're going to go to option 2. So we're not going to fight the gargoyle. Probably a good thing. There we go. All right. This corridor runs straight and smooth for several hundred paces. After a time, torches line the walls. Your way is well lit. The corridor slopes upwards, twisting and turning on itself. At last you stand before a large boulder. The corridor ends here. There is nowhere else to go. You are puzzled. Searching the face of the boulder, you discover a hidden handle and pull it. The entire boulder swings slowly towards you. You step aside in amazement. The boulder swings completely open and fresh air rushes into the corridor. Looking around the edge of the opening, you see that it is very dark beyond. You step through the opening and the immense boulder closes behind you. There is no sign of the door. "Carrick!" cries Larius. "We're outside!" The blackness is only night. Cool, fresh air blows about you. You smell pine trees and green growing things. You are outside and you are safe. But you have come away with little or no treasure to make it worth your while, considering all the dangers you have faced. Perhaps you can find the opening in the rock and try again another day. As the two of you pick your way down the side of the mountain, a deep mocking laughter echoes down the mountainside. The halfling suddenly turns around towards the mountain and raises a clenched fist, shouting, "Someday, Cowman, Carrick and I, Larius the Brave, will return to your lair for another battle. Next time, the outcome will be different." You and Larius turn down the mountain and start the long journey back to Larius's village. The end. And with that, we have the screaming goat to denote the end of our journey. Okay, so what do you think of that little adventure? Again, I had no idea how long it was going to go. I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter than that, but it went on for I think almost 30 minutes there. So what do you guys think? Would you like to try this again? Do this again? Since some of the beginning options we know which one to pick to be able to move the story forward, but then once we get to a certain point, we would then start the die rolling again so that we have the fresh options. If you wanted to try that again, and I realized that Larius's voice that I did was somewhat Kermit the Frog, so it just came to me that was his voice. Don't know why. I didn't have a voice for Kalman. I think that next time I'll do something more evil or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. So if you liked it and want to do it again, let me know down below. If you don't, also let me down, but be nice if you don't like it. That's okay. So yes, that was the first filler video for this January. And again, next week, we're going to be doing the Roanoke Retreat at this wonderful location. And I can't wait to tell you guys about it. So I think that'll be the subject of the next one. And at some point after that, we're going to do the Cyberpunk watch party over on SideTube. So I gotta figure out what we're going to watch, and then we'll do that, and I'll let you guys know how that works out. So thank you for joining me on this little adventure, for playing this little game, and hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Oh yeah, and watch more anime.